internet, and today's video is going to be a Top 5 Wednesday. This is Goodreads group run by Sam over at Thoughts on Tomes. Both links are down below for your perusal. Now, today's topic was children's books. Now, of course, we can't go with our favorite answer, Harry Potter. So, sadly, this 5-book list is lacking my favorite series. Don't worry though, I got some pretty good ones. First, we're going to start with Coraline by Neil Gaiman. This is a fantastic book. I think the most important lesson that can be learned from this book is what bravery is, what true bravery is, and how to ensure that you persevere, to continue to keep trying, to continue to push forward, even though you know the dangers of your situations, you know the full consequences of what could happen to you, but you still push forward. Plus, it's really nice to see young Coraline and to see a young female protagonist be a brave character. She doesn't sit back and whine when her friends are in trouble. She doesn't sit back and whine when her parents are in trouble. She steps up. And then even though she's scared, even though she's terrified, then she never lets that stop her. She's like, no, I have to do this. I have to persevere. I have to push forward, because who else is going to if I don't? So Coraline, definitely a book worth reading. Next we have Coriander by Sally Gardner. As a child, I continually reread this book. I think I've read this book at least 10, 15 times. It is a Cinderella retelling sort of ordeal, and has Cinderella aspects. So it follows Coriander, and her mother dies, and she gets a new stepmother. Well, when her mother dies, she leaves behind these shoes that if Coriander puts them on, she's transported to this different world, this magical kingdom. So it's her trying to put up with her family, her trying to figure out why she always ends up in this mysterious place and how that connects to her. And my favorite thing about this book was, my first princess was Cinderella, and this was like a Cinderella story, but in here, Cinderella doesn't just sit back and let things happen to her. No, Coriander makes sure that it's known that she's displeased about the situation that she's in, and she never gives up fighting to be free. She's always a fighter. She's always striving to be free, to be her own person. And that's what I loved about this one. Next we have Cats of Tanglewood Forest by Charles D. Lint. I actually have a review on this one, so go check that out if you want. This follows a young girl named Lillian, and she lives on a farm, and she constantly plays in the woods surrounding the farm. One day she decides to take a nap in the woods, and she wakes up a kitten. So this book is her quest as she tries to write her life back to normal, to once again be human, to once again have the life she had before all of this happened. So in this, you meet a lot of very intelligent animals, very intelligent people, very intelligent animal people, and like you just see how all of these stories combined into each other and make this grand tale. It pulls a lot on indigenous American myths, and it kind of makes you question the reality of things, where it tells you a story of how something was created. You know the scientific reality of it, but then it says something later as if to hint that maybe you're not always right about reality. Maybe there's more to the world than you could ever know. The next book for this, I'm going to choose Fablehaven by Brandon Mule. This follows a girl named Kendra and her brother Seth, and they are taken to their grandparents to stay with their grandparents, who they barely know and rarely see, who live in this sanctuary. Now, they believe it's just a regular animal sanctuary, and their grandparents can't leave often, so they don't really know them. Now, here we discover the sanctuary that these two mysterious grandparents take care of isn't a traditional animal sanctuary, but it is a magical sanctuary. So we have centaurs, we have fairies, we have satyr, we have all sorts of beings on the sanctuary. And slowly Kendra and Seth start to discover that fairies are real, and sometimes what looks like a butterfly isn't just a butterfly. And I really, really loved this book because Kendra was such a kind-hearted person, and it was nice to see a female character. Like, there was the potential of Seth to be a main character, but instead it was Kendra. She was a main character. She was the one who saved the day. She was a very calm and nurturing person, and to see a calm and nurturing person be the protagonist and still commit awesome and epic deeds, it affected me as a kid. I loved the idea that I could see a female who was calm and caring and just wanted to make the world right, also be magical and do fabulous things and just be so intelligent, and she could do so much. Plus, throughout this series, it's a 5-book series which is now being extended, but the original 5-book series, Kendra, over that span, dates a dragon and then later a unicorn, and okay, I was jealous of her. Who else gets that chance? I wish. And then the last book for this, I'm going to go with Eric Rex by Kaza Kingsley. Now, this is an interesting story to explain. Now, I read it a long time ago, but I remember finding this so fascinating. It wasn't like many stories I had read before. So Eric Rex is a child of many, and he somehow gets himself into the underground world. This world that not many people know exists, but his mother knew existed all along. He gets himself down there, and it turns out in this underground kingdom, they're split into like different little sections, and they're all ruled by siblings. One of the siblings has passed away. So instead of having the traditional, oh, my son is heir, they decide to have a competition. And all of the children of the kingdom, and Eric, because he gets roped into everything, are to compete in this competition, and there's different tasks they have to do and different goals and stuff, and it was just very interesting. But later, as the series goes on, it goes away from that traditional task nature, that competition nature, to something more personal between Eric and someone else. And then there's a discovery of what's really going on in the world and what's the real history. And there was just like so many different little plot points for you to be following. Plus, the way that the world was built was something that I had not seen before, and it brought in a lot of concepts that just, it blew my mind. Like, one of the things in this world is that they have attachable gills. So you can buy some gills and then you can attach them anywhere on your body. So now all of a sudden you can breathe in water. There's a thing called snail mail, but it's not actually a nickname term for the US postal system. It is mail that comes in a snail. You put your mail in the snail shell, you throw it, and it lands to whoever it's supposed to. And then there was just so many different intriguing things that I think when you read this, your mind is just like working away, trying to figure out how all of these things work. It brings forth new concepts that you had never really thought of before, in like the imaginative sense, where like I had never had my imagination pushed to the bounds that Kingsley sometimes pushes it here, because she puts in all of these different elements and all of these like different little things for how the world works, that the moment you think you know the world and how it works, you understand that you don't really know how the world works, if that makes any sense at all. But that was my 5 books, my 5 children literature that you should all read. Did you like my choices? This was my opinion. What's yours? Click all the buttons down below. You know which ones they are. And goodbye, internet.